Thank you all so very much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedules to be with us here this morning at County College of Morris. My name is Betty Simmons, and I have the distinct pleasure of being the Vice President of Student Development and Enrollment Management and the Interim Vice President of Academic Affairs at this fine institution. Thank you, Professor Marin. This is a very special day for us here at County College of Morris. Over a year ago, we started having conversations about what we think we could do to expand our relationships with some of our local high school districts. We've actually included this in the college's strategic plan and have really tried to give some very serious thought to how we would go about doing this. Coincidentally, we then got some contact from a person who has now become my partner in crime, my sister from another mother, and an absolutely extraordinary partner, Susan Breton, who at the time was the Director of Curriculum Instruction for the Mount Olive School District. And she and the principal, Kevin Stansberry, invited us to come to their campus to visit and talk about where we think we could enhance our relationship, which always has been a good relationship, but we felt that we could strengthen it. It has been an absolutely spectacular journey as I've worked with Susan in particular, and Kevin and Rob, and the faculty and staff at Mount Olive, and the amazing faculty and staff here at County College of Morris to come to this day where we will be signing a partnership agreement. And I will tell you, and I mentioned this to Susan as we were walking in, this is going to be the first of many partnerships with schools in the Morris County area. But we are putting Mount Olive there as our premier institution because they have just been so wonderful to work with. They have been extremely generous and kind with their time, with their thoughts, and their creativity. The amazing staff on the student development and enrollment management side at the institution here at CCM have equally been creative, and that has gotten us where we are today. I would like to give a special thank you to Dr. Iacano and Dr. Zawicki for their leadership and their encouragement, sometimes pushing Susan and me a little bit along the way as we get here, but all for the benefit of the residents of Morris County and the students who will become County College of Morris students. I'd like to take this time to just do a few introductions if you all don't mind. Some folks won't have speaking parts, but you all know President Iacano, President of County College of Morris, and the Chair of the Trustee Board here at County College of Morris, Mr. Paul Lasitra. They will both be giving some remarks in a few minutes. I would like to thank the Chair of the Mount Olive Board, who also happens to be a staff member here at County College of Morris, Liz we met. And we've been very grateful to have Liz and her guidance too throughout this process. She has attended several of the meetings as well. I'd also like to introduce members of the County College of Morris Board of Trustees. And just because I think she's a little more special than some of the others, I'd like to start with Dr. Barbara Hadzima, who is a secretary of our board. I know, yes. But I guess you figured in that. Barbara Hadzima, who has been a member of our board and is a secretary of the board. Mr. Tom Pepe, who is a vice chair of the board. Mr. Jeff Advocate, who is a longtime member of the Board of Trustees and an incredible supporter of everything that we do here at County College of Morris.
Welcome the Marauder.
Yes, they do. Yes, they do. And the newest member of the County College of Morris Board, Dr. Angelica Allen McMillan, who also serves as the executive county superintendent, so she actually has dual relationships with both Mount Olive and with County College of Morris, and we are very, very grateful for their support. I'd also like to additionally thank Vice President Karen Vanderhoof, for whom, without her guidance and her suggestions, this too would not have happened because there are some financial implications here, and Karen, as always, comes up with some creative ways in which we can make these partnerships work. So Karen, as always, thank you very much. At this time, I would like to introduce Ms. Susan Breton, who now has a new title, the Director of Social Emotional Learning at Mount Olive School District. Susan.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Simmons. I just want to echo my just wonderful feelings and thankfulness to Dr. Simmons. So funny, they say life is a journey, and about 10 years ago, when I started in Mount Olive as the Director of Guidance, believe it or not, Mr. Kevin Stansberry and I had a ongoing relationship with a woman by the name of Jessica Chambers. So some of you probably remember Jessica. And we had started this process of this relationship. And 2.5 years after starting at the high school, I was moved to the middle school as principal, and things kind of fell apart. And then I ended up in the district office this past year, serving in a couple of different roles. And one of the things that became, certainly to light, excuse me, was the high priority of our relationship with CCM in Mount Olive. And so that's how it came to be that Betty and I started working together along with Kevin and Rob Feltman, Dr. Zawicki. And I just want to say that from not only a professional perspective of working with the county college, but also a personal perspective, as I've had some relationship building from a personal perspective, I can't say enough about our relationship. And what I noticed in the last time we met with Dean Hart and some of the faculty is that our faculty were speaking a common language. And I think that's the most exciting piece, because when we had our last meeting, when CCM's faculty came to meet over at the high school, what I said to some of the teachers was, go talk your common language. Like, really talk about what is important. Because what I have noticed is that the faculty at the high school and the faculty here at CCM have the same purpose. They want kids to succeed. And so our faculty at the high school really wants to know, what do you need us to do so that we can send you the best and brightest students who are most prepared, and that we can send off into the world for opportunities. So I just want to say thank you to everyone, Dr. Iacona, Dr. Simmons, Dr. Zawicki, Mrs. Ouimet, because there has been a great push for this, and it's been just a pleasure. So thank you so much. I want to introduce from the Mount Olive side some of the folks that are here today, and certainly I don't want to leave anyone out, but I'm going to certainly introduce Dr. Zawicki, who is our superintendent of schools, Mrs. Ouimet, who serves a dual role as our board president. Dr. Gales is in the back, who is our board member. Dr. Beardsley, where's Dr. there? Dr. Beardsley, who is also on our board. Mr. Stansberry, who many of you know, who has also been a partner in crime on the opposite side for myself. Kevin and I have worked together for over 10 years, and it's a pleasure. Lisa Schlier, who is our executive director. Where's Lisa? Yep, she's over here. Mr. Feltman, who is our vice principal of student services and handles all of the option 2 pieces with myself at the high school. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for today and for the relationships. We really look forward to this incredible journey. So thank you.
Before I ask Dr. Iacona to come up and give some remarks, it just is really important to always give thank you to individuals who make things happen really smoothly. And the folks who are behind the scenes are just absolutely incredible individuals. We all know that. We depend upon them, and they don't like to stand in the limelight, as do I. But I do want to give a special thank you to my executive administrative assistant, Janet Akison, who is just an incredible human being and a great support for me. Who worked along with Ms. Denise Bell, who is Dr. Iacona's executive administrative assistant. If you need any detail taken care of, you want Denise Bell working on it with you. So thank you, Denise. Ms. Joanne Hughes, who also is in the president's office as an executive administrative assistant, and Ms. Pam Williams, who works with our CCM Foundation. These individuals are just amazing. And then, as always, our tech crew, our media crew, Mr. Shulp and his staff, thank you very much, and Kathleen Brunette-Egan and the media staff. Thank you also very much for being here. So when Dr. Iacona came on board 3 years ago, and we talked about where we saw we could enhance our relationships with the local community, Tony had a number of ideas in place, and one of them had to do with strengthening our relationships with the high schools. And we knew that we had a really good penetration in the high schools, but we knew that we could do even more. And so Tony challenged us to reach out to several high schools and establish some strong relationships. And I want to thank him again for his vision, for his encouragement and his support. And I'd like to introduce our president, Anthony Iacona.
Thanks, Dr. Simmons. Good morning.
Good morning.
This is just to me is an absolutely fabulous day for what we're about to launch and what we'll be building and so forth. And I want to talk about that. A lot of recognitions, and I know I can speak for Dr. Zawicki and myself to say we're really, really fortunate to have the boards we do, who bring forth vision and the courage to help make these things move forward. And really, the benefits are just extraordinary. I do want to ask though, if faculty from Mount Olive, I believe we have some teachers from Mount Olive and we have faculty from CCM, if you would stand for a moment so we could recognize you also. Those who are in the classrooms. I know our faculty at County College of Morris, and I have one of my children is a student at the high school. This is where the rubber meets the road, really, okay? So in some senses, in some ways, the superintendent and I have the easiest job. We get people together, we talk about what we think should happen, which is, everybody understands this code for this is gonna happen, but we say it nicely, right, Rob? Yeah, okay. So we have this, we think this would be good, and then we outline a few things, and then fortunately we have tremendous staffs on both sides of us who really, really understand how to make this work. There's a lot of formalities, a lot of legalities, there's a lot of pieces to go into place for it to be operational, none of which the students will ever know or understand, right? So that role is critical, and those really are our unsung heroes, who they will know and understand to a very large degree. And what they need to know and understand is they're going to work with some extraordinary teachers, bar none. Okay, I am always exceedingly proud of who our students work with at this college, and I'm very, very excited of who my children get to learn from at Mount Olive. It is an extraordinary learning environment like CCM. So we work with all of our school districts, and this past year we really zoned in on 8 particular districts, okay? Because you can't take on everything at once. We focused in on 8 with some very, very clear goals of, we didn't want students to experience a one-off course necessarily. And there's value in that. You try it, you decide if you like it or not, and maybe it sparks a greater interest. We wanted to show them programs and how things fit together. We wanted them to have opportunities where they could earn certificates and really make some inroads toward earning degrees or even earn the whole degree, which was a big part of many of our conversations. Give those students who are really, really advanced the opportunity to earn whole degrees. And in this room today, that's what we're doing. That's what we're recognizing and celebrating, all right? What we've done is extraordinarily powerful. It's what most of the state and many states aspire to is, can you get K-12 and higher ed to have a relationship where we're not building one-offs, we're building whole systems. And in those systems, you can make almost anything happen. So we're launching this summer pre-calc course, and in the fall we're launching humanities, almost the entire humanities it feels like, which is ultra exciting. But the template now exists and the roadmap is there that you can bring anything into it. Our goal is not what we have today, that we've reached the finish line. It is, we have built one heck of a starting place. So Mount Olive has long been an exceptional school district. I'm very, very proud, and CCM has had 50 years of extraordinary success. But I think this is going to make not only the district and the college even stronger, but we're going to be able to offer opportunities to students who may never have had them and build pathways where they can get started and see where it is that they can go and what they can really be doing with their lives as well. Because to me, one of the worst things is an individual who doesn't have any vision at all of what's going to happen next year and the next year and the next year. And our work here has been to give them some sense of vision as well. So it has been a lot of work. It is about to become a lot of fun, and for the faculty, a lot of work, but a lot of fun. And I think we're going to change a lot of lives in that process. So to all of you, from my colleagues at County College of Morris, my Board of Trustees, and to our friends and colleagues at Mount Olive School District, thank you. We are so thrilled that you are the school, and for us, it was just an easy one. And we're mildly biased. Some of us have some Mount Olive connections. Is that right, Chair Lesetra? Okay, so we're slightly, Professor Mammon, like slightly biased? Okay, so some of these titans are also marauders as well. So we're a little biased, but we don't believe that we could have found a better school district to start this work with, and we believe that the growth we have. Mount Olive has been tremendous for years, and under the direction of a new superintendent, you can really feel a renewed sense of energy there, a lot of vision there, and again, this really is the start. Hopefully, those who are from CCM will take the time to get to know some of the folks at Mount Olive if they don't, and vice versa. While we're here today, don't run right out as soon as the ceremony is over. Take a few minutes, especially take the time to meet the new superintendent, the principal, Susan, who really is my Betty, where they catch everything, they make everything happen, and work with big teams of people to ensure that we're going to be successful. So thank you so much. And I know we've got some others who are going to be coming up speaking as well. So, okay. And so my pleasure then to introduce CCM's Chairman of the Board of Trustees and former Mayor of Mount Olive, Mr. Paul Cetra.
Are you clapping because I'm a trustee or because I was the former mayor of Mount Olive? And the former is the key word. That means to see the smile on my face? Anyway, I want to welcome you on behalf of the trustees. Some amazing things done. I'm duly proud today because, like Dr. Tony said, I've been a resident in Mount Olive for 47 years. My wife served on the school board as a vice president for 9 years, and we've been involved, and I couldn't think of a better community to partner with. Some of us who have our, not only our children went through the system, but now have my grandchildren going through the system, and they decided to come back to Mount Olive to raise their family, so we did something right. I don't know where education is going. I'm not an educator. I was a businessman, and I think we run a lot of the college here in business aspects. But I don't know where education's going, but what we're doing here today, I can tell you, is a start. This is going to be an example to a lot of people, and this is only going to expand. So again, I welcome you here. I couldn't pick a better partner than the people in Mount Olive, and may God bless both of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chair Letistra. One of my visits to Mount Olive, Dr. Zawicki came and visited with us, and he gave us his vision also as a new superintendent, and I was equally impressed with the direction in which he wanted to strengthen that relationship, recognizing that there are just phenomenal things happening at the Mount Olive School District. If you haven't had a chance to go to this school, it is phenomenal, and Principal Stansberry, Dr. Zawicki, what you and your staff do there is truly impressive, and so thank you for giving us an opportunity to have Mount Olive be our premier partner. Please join me in welcoming Dr. Robert Zawicki.
Thank you so much. Truly humbled for, I got to show up and I get to sign this, but this has been so much of a really long effort over many years. And shortly after my appointment, I had a meeting with my new board president, and we were talking about our priorities and different things. And I spoke about the Future Ready Schools program and how important that is to have partnerships with secondary institutions. And the conversation immediately switched to CCM. And so one of the people I would really like to recognize is Liz Weemet, our board president, who's been the driving force on this for a very long time. And that pressure that Susan was talking about, that's Liz. And so that's positive pressure. I'd also like to recognize Dr. Antoine Gales, who's our curriculum committee chair. So for us, the mechanics of how this works on the board, it passes through Dr. Gales. And then Dr. Beardsley, in her own right, an expert in merging academic institutions. She was chair of the merger of NJIT and the Rutgers Medical School. I'm sorry, UMDNJ, sorry. Herself an expert in secondary education who sits on the curriculum committee. So I thank them for all their support. And I love working in Mount Olive because the answer is yes, which is great as a superintendent. But whenever things are presented that this is going to be an opportunity for kids, we find a way to make it happen. And I think that's the legacy and the reputation of Mount Olive. And so I look at this and I view this as two organizations in the landscape of education that are not static, but are in fact disruptive and keep pushing towards innovation. So besides our interwoven nets of personal and professional relationships here in Morris County and Mount Olive and CCM, I think this is a philosophical marriage that if we're really truly going to talk about college and career readiness, if we're truly going to talk about future ready, that these partnerships are really important and that we need to be committed to it. And it's not just good enough that we're going to run a couple classes this summer, but that this is going to be the tip of the iceberg where we're constantly reassessing this, and that it's this dialogue between our faculty. So that's the part I'm really excited about. And for, our families of our students and our students, this is very real. We're going to have middle school students at Mount Olive taking college level classes this summer. This is a very real opportunity for our kids, where we're opening up all these different pathways to careers and pathways to post-secondary success. So I'm really, really excited about that and very, very grateful. And I want to thank Dr. Iacono for the tone and tenor of all of our meetings. And, yes, there's lots of negotiating going on and discussions, but you really set the tone for this is going to be streamlined, and that this is going to be a way that we're going to try and remove obstacles between our institutions, so that this is a true partnership, because it's the kids who really benefit when that happens. And I really appreciate that partnership tremendously, both personally and professionally. And last but not least, I want to thank Susan and Betty, who really did the heavy lifting on all of this. And without their symbiotic relationship of almost daily contact, and Tony and I would check in on the process, but we're here today because they really got it done. So please, let's give a big round of applause for them. So thank you once again, and I look forward to seeing you over many years and decades as this partnership continues. Thank you so much.
So at this time, we are here to see a signing. I do want to just inform folks, as Tony has mentioned, we will be having a pre-calculus class that will be taught at the high school this summer. Professor Alexis Thurman from the County College of Morris Mathematics Department met with the students on Friday. She's excited. The faculty at Mount Olive are excited. The students at Mount Olive are excited. Pre-calculus, good Lord, over the summer. Good for that. And then in the fall, as Tony mentioned, we will be, and we continue to work on the relationships in the curriculum with our fine and our performing arts. And so a special thank you to Professor Mammon and all of the members of the music faculty, Professor Bellotti, Professor Collins, Professor Gradone, Professor Deerdorf. We just are just so fortunate to have amazing creative faculty on the music side, and so they are going to be doing some amazing things with the faculty at Mount Olive, and we will be delivering CCM classes at Mount Olive taught by Mount Olive teachers, and the students will get their credits throughout the course of the year. And then on the fine arts side, Professor Whalen is working to develop an industrial design course there, and she's met with the faculty there. And then on the fine arts side, Professor Smith, Professor Nieves, Granero, who is not here, is talking about art appreciation, photography, and some more art courses. And so we're really, really appreciative. None of these conversations with the faculty could have happened without the guidance and the support of our interim dean of liberal arts, James Hart. And so I'd like to also give a special thank you to James. So those are the beginning courses that we're going to work on. The agreements speak to that at this time. We will have the actual signing. The agreements will be signed by both Drs. Zawicki and Dr. Iacono. And so we will go through that process.
Okay. I'm going to, before we sign these, there's 3 individuals that we would really be remiss not to recognize. And so I want to take a moment, if you'll stand up or give a wave. But we do have Mount Olive Councilwoman Colleen Lebeau here. And we appreciate your taking time. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to be here. And I'm going to tell you, these 3 all have something in common. We also have Mr. Joe Nicastro from Mount Olive Life here as well. And from the mayor's office, we have Lisa Brett, who is joining us as well. And we had Greg Stewart, who had to leave early for a meeting, right, from the Mount Olive Chamber as well. So I'll tell you, the one thing these 4 individuals really have in common is they are very powerful advocates, not only for Mount Olive, but for CCM. Not a lot of days go by that Lisa's not in my ear about, and a great idea of things that we could be doing, and we're working on some things that we hope we'll be bringing up to Mount Olive fairly soon as well. And Colleen's a very powerful advocate for the college in the community, so I'm not the only one, and Paul is not the only one up there talking about CCM per se, and Maria Lane and others. And if you don't read Mount Olive Life in paper or online, you really need to jump on there and see, because what Jenna Castro and his team are covering and saying about us and helping residents up there understand about us is very, very positive and very powerful as well. They really are three individuals who spend their days trying to help others have much more productive and interesting and enjoyable lives. So I know the three of you are very busy. Thank you for being able to be here with us today. We appreciate that. And so,
Go.
now we'll make it official. Great.
We'll say date and we true.
Okay.
Right. Oh my God. I'm gonna pull a Trump.
Like marriage certificates.
Right?
Exactly.
Do that again. I'm gonna pretend.
All right. Thank you very much. Sure, yeah.
You want to do that? We'll do the Trump.
All right.
You want to sign again? You want to sign again?
Could you do that one thing where, because that's like a really cool boomerang for
This one?
kids?
Oh, that. You want this?
Okay, that's going to be on a boomerang on Instagram.
There we go. All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Much
Thanks so much.
appreciated. Heck of a good start.
Yes, absolutely.
That concludes
All right.
Wonderful.
ceremony. Please continue to enjoy refreshments.
You guys have a good meeting.